Hi, welcome back to this video focus today for your face-to-face class here in the LTCC Teaching and Learning, Onboarding and Training Experience. Today we're talking about safety and emergencies and how to address these in your face-to-face class. As I say here, in today's day and age, we shouldn't take safety and emergency situations lightly. Let's address some of the most general issues today in this video, and I believe they fall into two categories. One is a lockdown or active shooter situation or emergency. Two is a discipline-specific safety issue. So in terms of just some of the general issues of safety, we should all have an exit and evacuation plan. And just behind me out the hall and by Reaper Graphics here outside B103, I just saw that the college put up brand new exit and evacuation plan plaques. And so I will actually cut to the video now so you can see this. What it's actually showing you then in these two panels is based on your location where you're currently at, what exit you should take in terms of leaving the building in the case that an emergency is declared or there's a safety situation. And it's not always even safety or emergency. Back it was a few months ago, we had a campus-wide, it was this whole area power outage. So for like 2 hours, people were sort of sheltering in the commons because there were no lights in any of the offices. Fortunately, it was during the day, but still, it was kind of an issue. And so that's an example of something that can arise just based on a power failure or something happening with our utilities. The second thing, and so what I'm recommending in both of these, so review the exit evacuation plan. Find the one that's closest to your classroom. If you like, snap a picture with your phone, stick that in your PowerPoint, put it in your Canvas shell if you have a Canvas enhanced class, and then go through that with your students early in the quarter, preferably the first day. The second is, please detail lockdown procedures. So in a classroom like this one, we would want to talk about where the exits are. There actually are some exits, which are the windows on the sides, and then there's actually a door here. One key thing to do is make sure for every classroom you know, A, what are the exits, windows and doors, B, what is the lockdown procedure? So what is the way to secure the door? If there's a shade on the door and you pull that shade down in the case of a lockdown, if there are locks, as we're seeing here, be sure you know how to use the locks. Early in the quarter, like the first week, before you teach your first class preferably, please check everything in that classroom to make sure it all works, such that if there is a situation, you're ready from day one. So don't let this lapse and wait. If there's any concerns, you can certainly reach out to the business office, to maintenance, to Al, the safety team, and so forth, to really make sure that you have all the equipment in place that you need to do a lockdown. So just make sure you look into that, make sure everything is in place and that you're ready to go, and then train your students, preferably in that first day of class, about an exit and evacuation plan and also the lockdown procedures specific to your space. If your space has a lot of equipment, or there are doors, indoor, outdoor kind of combos like in the art area or some of the science labs, really go over the procedures there because they're going to differ from one classroom space to the next. So very important to go over those. Also, be sure that you have your classroom phone, and we can actually look at that with the camera here. So the classroom phone is just right here, and as you can see, it's actually working. It has the extension right there, 169, and then as typical, you would pick this up. You hear dial tone, hear the dial tone, make sure you hear that. And then of course, if it's an emergency, you could call any number of the emergency numbers on campus. You could also, of course, if it's an imminent emergency, call 911 and then get that immediate help. And I think just to emphasize this, a lot of people have said in our trainings that if you're ever concerned and you don't know and you think something's happening, better be safe than sorry. Pick up the phone, dial 911. The police can come and check things out, and then we can assess the situation. So better to be safe than sorry. Also, you have your cell phone. Keep in mind, cell phones on the LTCC campus, even with boosters, have some limitations. So if you consistently only have 1 or maybe 2 bars, do not rely on your cell phone. Immediately rely on the classroom phone. If that is ever not working, let us know immediately, and then we can get that fixed for you. Discipline-specific safety. So this is the one that is very specific to your classroom. If you're, let's say, a science faculty or an art faculty member, you're teaching in a lab, you're teaching in a space where there are kilns, there are hazardous, potentially poisonous or dangerous chemicals. You go through all your own safety training. You have a HMIS, a hazardous material information sheet. You go through all that OSHA stuff to make sure people are trained on fire extinguishers, trained on burns, trained on hazardous chemicals, if there's a hazardous chemical bath, like in a chemistry class, how that's used and so forth. So that is, of course, covered by our discipline experts in their classes, typically science and art. But anything like that that you have, that you train on, wilderness is another one, then just, of course, be sure to go through all that. But these top 3 really are for every class. So if I were teaching in B103, what I do is really give students a lay of the land and say, those are the windows, that's the door, here's the lockdown procedure, here's the phone. Really describe things to your students in great levels of detail so that they're familiar with your evacuation plan, shelter-in-place procedures, and anything of that nature. In terms of trainings and education, we will continue to have more trainings related to these safety emergency issues. You may get in touch to schedule a classroom or workspace specific training. So Al and others will do workspace specific trainings. So you say, well, I teach in the art lab, what procedures do I need to know to shelter in place, or for evacuation, or using the phone, or whatever that happens to be. So please get in touch, and certainly more trainings, general trainings in the future will take place. But if you'd like to schedule a very specific one to your work or teaching location, just reach out and that can be accomplished for you. The other thing I want to mention is the importance of the incident report. Now, currently, you can go to the LTCC website, type in the right-hand corner there at the top, incident report, and something will pop up. There's this simplified form, but if you click on this one here, it's the more extensive one, and that's really the one we'd like you to use. This is very important. So if a student does something unsafe or seems strange or seems to violate the LTCC Student Code of Conduct, please gather as much information as possible if there are witnesses and fill out that form, turn that in. I believe Mary Ellen processes that. You can also get it at the instruction office or outside the business office in the little slot with all the forms. But very important, if we have an issue of safety or security on campus, we want to collect all the information. If local PD or even FBI are to be involved in something like this, we need to be assured that we have all our ducks in a row in terms of stating what happened, witnesses, if there's an investigation. There's always due process for our students, but we need to just be sure that that's available and that we can take action if action is necessary. So please do fill out an incident report anytime an unsafe situation occurs. So please reach out so we may enhance our LTCC policies. For example, our student discipline and behavior policy. You might have some great ideas to really beef that up, to make it a little bit better. Reach out to us and we can certainly collaborate on opportunities. And we can all then provide for better physical safety and security for all of us on campus. So thanks for listening today, and I'll be back with future videos here on the Face-to-Face track.